Hello, my name is Kevin Tennant, and I'd like to welcome you to Knowing Your People, a key to a leader's influence and success. In putting together this program, the first thing that came to my mind was a song. The song was Getting to Know You, which of course comes from the Tony Award winning musical The King and I, which was first performed way back in 1951. This musical was the story of a strong-willed widowed school teacher named Anna Leon Owens, who traveled from her home in Wales along with her young son to become the governess and tutor for the many children of the King of Siam. This was all part of the king's plan to modernize his country. And this song comes from the scene in which Anna is first introduced to her students. Now, I won't torture you by singing the verse, but I will read through the words of the first verse of this song as you follow along on the screen. It's a very ancient saying, but a true and honest thought, that if you become a teacher, by your pupils you'll be taught. As a teacher, I've been learning. You'll forgive me if I boast, and I've now become an expert in the subject I like most, getting to know you. As leaders, we quickly learn that our success is dependent on the success of those we are charged to lead. To maximize this success, it is our responsibility to create an environment around our people that allows each individual member to bring forth their best more of the time. If we ask the right questions and listen carefully, our students will give the information we need to do just that. But instead of putting it my way, but nicely, we'll be able to provide our people with the information and support they need in a manner that is appropriate for them, so that they feel empowered to make decisions. They feel accountable for delivering results in the right way. They will own and approach their development as a true partner. And you can identify challenges early and minimize risk. Yes, I said risk. We'll talk more about that later. Now, I'm sure you intuitively know and have learned through your own experiences that knowing your people is important. But it is nice to have the data to support this idea. This data comes from a research project done by Google, which began when executives asked the question, do managers matter? Well, of course they do. What was more interesting was that the researchers identified what they called the Oxygen 8 behaviors for great managers. These are the behaviors that made the greatest impact on parameters such as job satisfaction, retention, and most importantly, performance. Google's Oxygen 8 behaviors are these. Great managers are those that are good coaches. They empower the team and do not micromanage. They express interest and concern for team members' success and their personal well-being. They're productive and results-oriented. They're good communicators. They listen and share information, and they help with career development. They have a clear vision and strategy for the team, and they have the necessary technical skills that help them advise their teams. Now look closely at the third item on this list. Expresses interest or concern for team members' success and personal well-being. It's kind of hard to express genuine interest and concern if you don't know your people. So what are the most important things to know? It starts with knowing what motivates each member of your team. What is the real reason your people get up each morning with the intention of bringing their best to work? Often you will hear, for the money. Yes, money is a great reward, but if you dig a little deeper, you will find what need is actually being met with the money. Way back in 1943, a psychologist named Abraham Maslow published a paper entitled A Theory of Human Motivation. This article described the pattern that human motivations generally move through during different stages of human growth and development. These motivators are innate, and certainly will be different for different people, depending on their life circumstances, where they are in their career journey, and other factors. At the base of the pyramid, it's about survival, meeting those needs that ensure you can get up in the morning, getting the resources you need to remain upright. The next level of need focuses on safety and security, focusing on those things that allow a person to have a paycheck, to keep a roof overhead, and meet the immediate needs of self and family. The next motivation level is about creating a sense of belonging to a group, being connected, of having meaningful relationships with others. Level 4 is about self-esteem, of feeling confident and competent in one's abilities. whether that need is fulfilled by achievement, taking on new challenges, learning, or other such activities. The top of the pyramid is called self-actualization. This is the specific actions that brings fulfillment, that create positive energy, that make it fun. Discovering these motivations in your people starts by asking the question. But if you listen carefully, you can find out more. What do your people talk about when you're not talking shop? What activities or causes do they involve themselves with when not at work? Who do they do these things with? What are they saving their money for? I've found that you can learn an awful lot about people simply by looking at the pictures that they have on their desk. The next thing to know is the strengths that each member of your team brings forth during the performance of their individual job responsibilities and when working as a member of the team. These are behaviors and characteristics that the person has worked to develop. They feel confident in performing them, and they usually satisfy an internal need. These things motivate them. It is always helpful to ask your people what strengths they think they bring to the job and to the team. This question helps you validate your own observations and gives you more information to work with. As we move forward in working to know our people, it's important to realize that everyone has a story to tell. A person's resume can tell you part of the story, where the person went to school, what the person studied, what work experience has that person had before joining your team, but that is only a small part of their story. With time and trust, the story can become more complete. What did they like about those experiences, and what parts did they find less enjoyable? Where did they grow up? What do you know about their family? Are there cultural influences that shape the way they view their world and their work? This is all part of that story. However, it's not just about looking backwards. Part of the story has yet to be written. Therefore, it is important that you know what career ambitions each of your people have. I will often call this the "what do you want to be when you grow up" conversation. It could be maximizing their capabilities in their current role. It might be taking over your role someday. You will remember that the number one behavior in the list of Google's Oxygen 8 was being a good coach. Coaching is more than fixing the deficits. It is building on the strengths. It is helping your people bring their best to work today and preparing them for what is ahead. While your people must own their development, they need your support and they need your help in putting together a plan to help them get there. When you invest your time and efforts on this conversation, you are truly expressing your interest and concern for your team's success and their personal well-being. And finally, every conversation, every interaction provides you with an opportunity to get to know your people, to recognize their strengths in action, and provide feedback with the intention of building skills and raising performance. These interactions allow you to develop a clear picture of your team's normal, when they're performing at their best and when they're not. Deviations from this normal are sometimes referred to as red flag behaviors. Examples can include someone who consistently shows up to meetings on time, begins showing up late, or needs to change meeting times. Someone who consistently meets deadlines, begins completing tasks late, or asking for extensions. Someone who routinely voices their opinions in meetings, becomes quiet. While there may be simple reasons for these changes in behavior, each deviation from normal sends you a signal that something is going on in that person's life that is impacting them in a way that is keeping them from bringing their best to the team. When you know your people, when you know they're normal, you can more quickly recognize these red flag behaviors and have the conversations to find out what's going on, express genuine concern, and provide support as appropriate and as necessary. I once worked with a financial institution that shared this story. The story was of an employee that came to the office with bruises on his face. When asked about these bruises, he said they were the result of a bike accident. Well, no one even knew he owned a bike. When the leader pushed the employee further, he finally admitted that he had a gambling issue and owed money to people who came to collect. This situation put the employee, the leader, and the institution at risk. Here's the bottom line. Leaders invest time into getting to know their people. They know what motivates their people. They know their people's strengths and work to capitalize on those strengths to maximize the performance of each individual and the team. They know their people's past story. They know where their people want to go into the future and work to support that journey. And they know their people's normal. They recognize red flag behaviors and have the conversation necessary to catch problems early. Leaders do these things to know their people, to demonstrate and express genuine interest and concern, and to create an environment that allows each member of the team to bring their very best to work more of the time, so that great tasks can be accomplished and great results can be achieved. In closing, I'd like to thank you for the time you've invested in this developmental short. It is my hope that you will take one or two ideas away and implement them. By doing so, you will be leading at your best, and your people will be able to perform at their best more of the time.